Hey there, Laker fans. Welcome to Lakers Extra Detailed. This is the Lakers Heat postgame. Lakers finally break a 3-game losing streak to the rest of the league. One tough loss to the Rockets and two horrendous losses. One to the Dallas Mavericks and then one to the Spurs. And they came into this game against the Miami Heat with a very different game plan. So let's just jump into it. This was a tale of two halves, I would say, defensively, also offensively too as well. Lakers showed up in the first half before the game. Before the game, JJ Redick kind of made it very, very clear in the pregame that the Lakers were doing the whole switching thing specifically because of Victor Wembanyama, and he was not to expect the Lakers to do much switching in this game against the Heat. And it was a very that first half of the game. They actually weren't switching that much. They were doing a pretty phenomenal job staying with their guys. But Tyler Hero was just on fire. Like he couldn't miss. Like he was taking standstill threes from like 5 feet behind the 3-point line. He was taking in rhythm pull up threes. Like that. I mean, the game just sort of looked like the rim just looked like the ocean for him. So the Lakers ran into this situation where Tyler Hero's been hot, I think, but he had scored 32 a game, like the previous two games that he played, and appreciate all the folks joining in. I'll make sure I get your comments up there on the stream. But it certainly seemed like the Lakers were on their way to not playing well. I checked the stats at the half. I think the Lakers had taken about 12 more shot attempts than the Heat did, but they were down 12 because they were losing the math. Like the Heat were hitting their threes, the Lakers weren't hitting their threes. So any extra shots the Lakers were generating wasn't really good for the Lakers because they weren't knocking down the shots that they needed to. So this game was won on the defensive end, and there is some nitty gritty stuff that we can get into, which I'll set some time aside for. But that's really where everything started. The second half of the game is quite literally where the Lakers remembered how to play defense, and it honestly started with guys like Max Christie, guys like Rui Hachimura, and to some degree even LeBron being more locked in than he has been lately defensively. So it's a lot of credit to the team as a whole, especially the role players, because they came out in that second half. And Rui had like a very funny play where he kind of fell out of bounds on a roll, and things could go bad, but they didn't. They stuck with it. He ends up, I think, the very next possession, ends up getting a baseline dunk, like just full on pump fake, drives to the rim, gets a dunk. I think that woke everybody up. Then the other thing that was happening was Max Christie was doing an excellent job. Like when I say excellent job, like there's two plays in specifically where Max Christie gets ISO'd against Jaime Jaquez. And I know at the start of the third quarter, I can't pull the tape right now because I have to wait for the NBA website to pull the tape. So I'll definitely share it tomorrow once the tape gets loaded. But he had an awesome, awesome baseline defense against Jaime Jaquez, where Jaime literally was trying to bulldoze him to the rim, and Max stood him up. And I want to say he blocked him or he challenged the shot to force him to not um, to take like a bad miss. Like that was a play that was phenomenal. There was other plays where when the Heat were trying to run their pick and roll, you'd see LeBron get into the mix, deflect the ball. You saw Austin Reeves get into the mix to deflect passes. I think Max had one. AD had a really great one that I think he picked off a pass or he literally like picked up like he just like snatched a pick and roll uh, uh, dribble pass or sorry bounce pass. He just like picked it up, took it for a layup. Like it's just they were much more locked in defensively. And honestly, like Miami is one of those teams where they are. It doesn't matter who they have on their floor. Their execution level is so high that it's like you have to always be locked in, or else they will find a way to score points on you. And even with Harrow basically having his magnet ball game against us, and he played well against us the first time too when we played when we got killed by like 30 or 40 points in Miami. I thought the Lakers did a really great job responding. I thought Max did a phenomenal job. I thought the Lakers' communication, there were a few communication breakdowns in the game, but I thought in the second half, the Lakers did a tremendous job not allowing it to be easy for the Heat to get what they wanted. And that is very huge. Like when we watch this game and you watch the first half, you can quite literally see with the ball pressure and what's going on, how hard the Heat are trying to make it for the Laker players to score or to get into their offense. And the Lakers didn't do enough to make it difficult for the Heat, even though they weren't switching and stuff like that. But in the second half, the Lakers did much better. They're doing ball pressure. Gabe Vincent came off the bench today, and I thought he did an awesome job defensively today. Like a lot of people have been up and down on Gabe, and I understand that. Same way they've been about Rui. Rui had probably his best game of the season, you could argue, today, and a lot of it was off of looks from LeBron, like him just back cutting, him attacking, and that's just something that I think the Lakers have to. If it's JJ and the coach, it's just something that they have to encourage, and it's their best chance. Like there was a point in this game where the Lakers went on a run. I think they took the lead or they tied the game or something like that. And then Miami responded. Miami basically downsized in the second half after the Lakers went on their run to tie the game or to make it a single possession game. Spoelstra basically downsized his lineup. He took like Hawkins off the floor. He took a couple guys off the floor. He put like Duncan Robinson in. He put like Jovic. Jovic in. And basically his goal was to like spread the Lakers out as much as possible. So then that way, you just get easier buckets for the team. And they built a lead. Like they went back up. I want to say 8 or 10 points at some point again. So the Lakers actually battled back from 2 different double-digit leads. So like that's the part that the reason why the title of the post game is like the second half defense is because they battled back from nearly 2 different double-digit deficits in the second half, and that's very huge. Like it's a huge deal for them to do that because this is very easily a game where that they could have folded if they weren't locked in defensively. A lot of crucial threes in the second half being knocked down by Max. Dalton had like a little nice spurt like right towards the end of the half, I want to say, or end of the third quarter where he scored a bucket, got a foul, that sort of thing. So like those sort of small runs, as insignificant as they may seem, like those are huge. But the story really is the Lakers defense being very much more locked in. And like I said, like ordinarily you typically see it from like your star players, like AD sort of leads the way for everybody else, or LeBron leads the way for everybody else. But today, it genuinely felt like it was the role players sort of taking a lot of that initiative and deciding that the certain guys weren't going to be able to score easily. Like I said, Max I thought was great. Gabe was great. This was a game where I thought Austin was very selective when he was trying to be aggressive to score. Like he had a play, I want to say in the first half when the Lakers were kind of going on the run, might be the second half, where he tried to force like a bullet pass to Rui on the baseline that ended up getting picked off. And this was like in the middle of the Lakers run. I was like, we can't do stuff like that. And I think Miami ended up scoring the other way. So it ends up swinging the momentum. But then like since that point, Max was very under control. Or sorry, not Max. Austin was very under control. He was very good at using like Haywood Highsmith's aggression against him to draw fouls. He does it to Jovic. We had a lot of nice mid-range shots. Gabe hit a couple really tough mid-range shots over Khalil Ware. So that was really good. Overall, I'm very happy with the defense. It was very nice to see Braun much more engaged. It seems like they must have had a film session or a conversation where, JJ probably pointed out to the big dogs like, hey, like y'all are not playing defense. Like, yeah, you guys are hanging your teammates out to dry. And there was a lot of accountability with everybody at that. The communication was better. Only a few small things I think, because it can't always be all positive. There are some things that we have to improve on. One, this is the second game in a row. I'd have to go back and check. This is the second game in a row where Braun hasn't been very aggressive offensively shooting the ball, and he's like, this game is a little bit different. I'm not really holding it against him because Miami was playing a zone and they were trying to get the ball out of Braun's hands, so I'm not too worried about that. But that was a little bit of a concern. the second half, it felt like AD was also not aggressive. There was a play where he basically had ISO in the middle of the paint against Khalil Ware, and he settled for a floater. And I don't know why he does that. He can put his shoulder right into Khalil Ware, send him like into the back stanchion and finish a layup. It's just one of those things where I think just mentally, sometimes people just need to be even players need to be told like, hey, this guy's not going to stop you from getting to the rim. And it honestly seemed like their offense sort of unlocked itself once they realized that they could get to the middle of the zone, and that Khalil Ware was literally just going to stand at the rim, and he wasn't actually going to come out of the restricted area to try and block shots. There was a little bit of that going on, and Khalil Ware's a great defender, so I understand why they were a little concerned. But their offense opened up as soon as they started getting 2 feet in the paint. That's crucial against the zone, like not settling for that sort of thing. So I thought the Lakers did really well in that capacity. I thought they got great minutes out of Jackson Hayes too as well. He did a nice job playing without fouling. So overall, great win. Defense really set the tone for the Lakers. That's really what it is. Defense and knocking down your wide open threes, moving the ball, not just taking like the first 3 available. That was sort of what flipped the game completely. And of course, Miami having a little bit of regression. So like it worked out really well. I hope the Lakers continue to use switching very selectively and don't make it a blanket thing unnecessarily. Like force other guys to have to do it. Or if one guy is going to get hot, then let him get hot, but don't let anybody else get loose, because when you do the switching thing, it makes it too easy for other teams to dictate what they want to do and get other guys into rhythm. So great game by Lakers. Very glad that they broke this skid. I'd like them to string together a bunch of wins prior to that Boston game, because we need to ramp up. That would be a big game. So Lakers, the other news today is that the Lakers added Trey Jemison to their 2-way. They waived Quincy Olivari. People are upset about that, which I understand. But we added a guy by the name of Trey Jemison he was last on the New Orleans Pelicans, and I think he got waived. Trey is a guy who is about 6'10", 6'11". He is a physical, furniture-moving sort of center. I don't know if the Lakers are going to use him very significantly, but there's very core things that Trey Jemison does that the Lakers don't currently have in their positions. We also saw this situation today with the Heat. He can box out in single coverage, and he can box out in single coverage against guys like Brook Lopez. He can do it against guys like Day'Ron Sharpe. He's matched up against guys like Nick Richards before. He's matched up against like heavy bigs before, and even Jonas Valanciunas before, Nikola Jokic before. So Trey is, I don't know how much the Lakers are going to use him, but it seems as though if they're going to eventually test out using like a bruising big, that'll be the time to use it. And yeah, and some of the folks are mentioning, Jordan, you're mentioning it. Lakers using a 2 big lineup. Shell mentioning you guys using a 2 big lineup. Like again, like I'm glad that they didn't just JJ didn't go. You know what? I'm going to stick to my principles. Like we have to be malleable with it. And when I rewatch the game, I'm really going to take a deeper look into that 2 big lineup and see what we were able to do with that. But it was huge. I think Jackson Hayes got like an alley-oop dunk off of that action. Like it was nice to see that the Lakers were willing to sort of match the personnel that was on the court. So much better, I think, coach game, and I think it helped the Lakers out significantly. There are certainly times where I think the Lakers can definitely use the help with having 2 bigs on the floor. But as I was saying with Trey Jameson, like he's a very good bruising center. He's the archetype, but he's a 2-way guy. So like your expectation should be really low. He's not a guy who's, he's going to dunk everything that he gets. He's not a super explosive athlete, but he is a guy who will put his body on other big dudes and box them out, and he can do it in single coverage. So I'm going to show the tape. So hopefully that YouTube stream doesn't get blocked. If it does, just jump over to X and you guys can watch it here. So I'm going to try it a little bit differently this time. So I'm going to add it up here so you guys can see. So there isn't crazy highlights to share. Like he started like 24 games, I think for the Grizzlies back when they had sort of like a decimated roster. But he is very capable of just being a guy who can do single coverage against different centers. So I just want to show an example of, hopefully I can play this. but I wanted to show an example of what this looks like. So this is an example of Trey Jameson defending a pick and roll against. Let's see if it works. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, never mind. So scratch that. It's not going to work. I'll just clip it and share it with you guys on the timeline. But essentially, like Trey is a guy that you could use in those Coloco minutes, or you could use him in those Jackson Hayes minutes as sort of that bruising center if you wanted to. But again, I don't know what capacity the Lakers are going to use him in, but he does sort of fit the archetype. Nick Richards ended up getting traded to the Suns, so like I don't know what the end result is going to be for the Lakers when they're going around shopping. We already know that the guy that LeBron and AD want more AD than LeBron is Jonas Valanciunas. So maybe the Lakers are just trying to buy themselves time with this Trey Jameson ad in case they have to call him up or if they have to use him in specific matchups. If we see him get played in specific matchups where teams have like a burly center, the Nets would have one with Dayron. The Clippers technically have one with Zubac. Like if you see him get some minutes against those guys, it's safe to say that what's happening is that the Lakers are trying to see if that type of center is the one that they should continue to go after and maybe just buy themselves more time until the trade deadline. So I'll be very curious to see what ends up happening. But again, great win for the Lakers. Good luck to Quincy Olivari. Welcome aboard, Trey Jameson. This was a great win, and this was not one of those like cheap, like we got lucky sort of wins. Like the Lakers had to scrap this win out. Like they had to really lock in defensively and find themselves, look at themselves in the mirror. So I'm very glad that they did. I hope they don't allow this win, the momentum from this win, to just disappear. I hope they continue to do that, and they prepare for our next matchup, which I think is against the Nets. Like the Nets are tanking. The Lakers should not waste time with them. Like that game should be a blowout. So we'll see what happens. But as always, I appreciate all the folks that were able to jump in for this Lakers Extra Detailed for the post game. This will be up here if you want to watch it from the start. I'm trying to keep this to 15 minutes. I just appreciate it. If you haven't already, please go do me a favor. Head over to YouTube and just subscribe to the Lakers Detailed YouTube channel. Me and Raj will be doing a weekly pod. I'll probably do one more Lakers Extra Detailed for the Nets game, and then from there we'll go straight into the weekly pod, and then we'll talk about all these different themes that we're seeing with this team and take more of a deep dive. But as always, I appreciate all the folks that are able to tune in. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and if nothing else, I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.